So you've heard about this thing called OPM or other people's money, but you're still not sure exactly what it is? Well, in this video, I'm gonna give you exactly what it is and why it's important for you. Coming up. Hey there, it's Billy with Keep On Cash Flow, and I'm back once again to help share with you a number of different tips and strategies that are gonna help you to go out and make more money. They're gonna also help you to have more control of your free time and ultimately live with less stress. So if it's your first time here, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to the channel? And I'm also gonna ask you right up front, like I always do, when you find value in this video, go ahead, like the video, definitely share it with other people, because when you share it with other people, you're helping to bring like-minded members to our community. And so I just want to thank you for that right up front, because you're doing an awesome job of helping our community to grow every day with lots of like-minded people, positive, and helping one another to move forward. So let me get to today's question. And I know I've told you about this in the past. Like, one of the main reasons that I really love answering your questions is that it helps to get us closer to one another. It helps me to understand more about what you need, and ultimately that helps me to provide you the value that you're looking for. So on one of the videos that we've talked about in the past was really talking about how to understand more about exit strategies, and hopefully we'll figure out a way to put that video here or something so that you can at least have access to that if you haven't seen it before. We got a great question from one of you, and I want to make sure that I am answering that question today. And so the question comes from Journey of Growth, and really appreciate you. So thanks for asking the question here on our YouTube channel. In the past, we've answered questions from our Facebook fan page, we've answered on our Instagram page, and we've answered on Twitter. And so once again, this time we're gonna go back to our YouTube page and answer your question. So the question is, I want to buy and hold with OPM. Can you please dive into this? How and what point does it work for you? How do you set up the financing so that you can return the interest to the lender faster than while making cash flow? So once again, thank you so much for asking the question. And I am going to answer your question, but I think it's important to maybe take a step back so that people understand exactly what is OPM, why you would potentially use OPM, and then we'll get to answering your question. So first of all, what in the world is OPM? OPM is other people's money, just like I talked about in the very beginning. And so for many of you, you've probably heard about this in the past, OPM and all those kinds of fun things. But ultimately, what is it? It's exactly what it says. It's other people's money. It means it's some money that comes from places that is not from you. So, but it ultimately means getting access to cash and using it for something else. So let me give you a couple of examples. There's a type of debt that you can use, and it's kind of other people's money because it's credit cards. But I like to say that that's bad debt. Stay away from that. Stay away from that, because you're using credit cards to consume, meaning you're using it for things that aren't putting money in your pocket. There's another type of debt, using other people's money, like the bank's money, and that is like a mortgage. And I know we've talked about this as well in the past. Like, you can look at whether you want to go out and pay for something all in cash on your own, or you may want to use leverage. And there are reasons for that and reasons not. And we've talked about this as I mentioned to you before. But the thing is that's what I would consider to be a good debt, because you're using it to go out and purchase assets that will ultimately put more money into your pocket, right? And so that is a very good thing, or potentially a very good thing. There's only one challenge with that, though. And this is where OPM, or other people's money, another type that comes in as well, which is the banks will only loan you so much money, no matter how much money you make. And we've talked about this as well, because you have debt to income ratios and things like that the banks use to make sure that their risk is as minimal as possible. And when you run out of money from other people, like the bank, then that's when you look at going to other people, like friends, like family. And when you're looking at raising capital, is one of the things that you will want to do. And that's when OPM, or other people's money, really comes into play. And when we look at that other people's money from that perspective, it is really when you look at a specific opportunity. And I know that when we look at our process for following how to go out and make sure that you're understand your own philosophy, that you are making sure that you're in the right location, you have the correct team, then it ultimately comes down to the opportunity that you're going to present to others. And if that opportunity creates more value than the amount of money that a potential investor is going to place, then you're creating value for your investor and you're increasing your chances of gaining access to other people's money. No big surprise there. Things that we talk about all the time in this community, lots and lots of videos that are going to help you to get even deeper and more knowledge on all of those topics. But ultimately, let me come back and answer Life of Journey. Let me answer your question, which is, how do you go out and make sure that you are creating or gaining access to other people's money and doing that in a way that you can also pay them back? And let me just answer it right up front. It depends. Don't know if you're going to like that answer or not, but it really all depends. And one of the best ways that I've ever heard this explained is by Ken McElroy, who is one of the Rich Dad advisors. And because he's explaining it this way, it's one of the things that I've just always used and I like to talk about as well. But ultimately, it is about making sure that no matter what your project is, you always think about what is the return that you're going to give to your investors and make sure that your project can at least produce that. Because that way you're keeping your investors happy, you're keeping them satisfied, and you're creating value for them. So, and I'll just use a couple of examples as well, right? Let's make this real concrete. So imagine that you want to go out and raise $1 million of other people's money. So you're raising $1 million, and there are some key metrics that you're going to need to think about when you go out for this. And number one is you're thinking about all the revenue that your project is going to create, right, at the top line. And then you have to subtract all of the expenses. And we've talked about operating expenses in the past. When you take those operating expenses from the revenue, then that leaves you with your net operating income. And this is one of the probably most watched videos we've ever created, right? Is how do you get to your net operating income? Then once you're at that net operating income, then you have to think about what do you owe your investors specifically, right? And so your investors, on the same thing, if we're creating $1 million and you're going to say, and we'll just use a really simple number, say 5%, right? So you're going to use 5%. So that 5% on $1 million, you have to be able to at least create $50,000 to be able to pay your investors over that time. And that's their debt service. And once you subtract that from the net operating income, that gives you your cash after debt service, or CADS. And like I said, I know we've talked about this in the past as well. So the whole key here is to make sure that when you are going out to look for other people's money, or actually attract other people's money, it's probably a better way to say it, is making sure that your opportunity is creating a minimum of $50,000 in value, if we use this example. And then that way, you're delivering on your promise to your investors, you're making sure that they are happy, and you're creating more value than that money that was just sitting in the bank for them. So hopefully this has helped you, and it's also helped everybody else who is interested in understanding more about OPM, or other people's money. So, and if you want to actually know a specific process, one of the things we've done in the past is I actually did a free video series for you. If you'd like to take a deeper dive in understanding more about some of the different things that happen around a conversation when you're looking to raise money or gain access to other people's money, or raising capital, created actually a 4-part video course. Did it a while back, so although it's still relevant today, sure you can find a lot of value. All you need to do is go to keeponcashflow.com/conversations-RPC. And that will give you access to the course. It's free of charge. All you need to do is put in your name. And I'd love to get your comments on the course as well, because it also is one of the things that we've had in our archives for quite a while, and it's still relevant today. So hopefully this has helped you to understand more about what is OPM, why you would use it, and giving you a specific example. And once again, thanks to Life of Growth for being part of the community, for asking the questions, and keep your questions coming in, because we love answering for them. I love answering the questions for you. So once again, everybody, this is Billy Keels with Keep On Cash Flow. That's my 2 cents for today. And as always, hasta la próxima.